Joining us today will be Fagdonna the 34th, my beloved Trollsona, homefuck. I'm Mr. Ketchup, and please, enjoy the video.
I know this is a bit unlike my usual content, but I've recently been getting to Pillar Chase 2 and wanted to make a video ranking all the monsters inside of it, because nobody can do it right for some reason. Pillar Chase is a 1 versus all style game where you get to play as a survivor and go against a monster, or be the monster going up against the survivors. Blade says he wants to make all these said monsters balanced, but he's done an interesting job at that. Without further ado, here's my list. Welcome to... Oh god, what was Blade thinking? What was he thinking? I feel the need to vent about how stupid this character is, and I play Wisp sometimes myself. His range is the second best in the game, dealing 35 damage and is only beaten out by Uncle Samsonite. And this range and damage, in tandem with Frenzy, is absolutely stupid. Speaking of Frenzy, Frenzy is a simple stat buff which grants him increased attack and movement speed for 14 seconds, and lets him shoot 3 Gobble Bombs instead of 1. And when you give a character with above average stats a stat buff, you run into some problems. With Frenzy, Wisp becomes the 4th fastest character in the game, and unlike some other characters with this speed caliber, he has 100 stamina. Now people who play PC2 might be saying, but Skugum, his speed is balanced by his high stamina drain. That makes him balanced, right? Wrong! You can just counteract this debuff by just pressing sprint over and over and over again. This debuff is useless! As a mild Wisp enjoyer, I guess, the fact that Blade buffed Wisp and made his stamina drain slower was a terrible decision. Now, onto those Gobble Bombs. At first sight, these orbs are a pretty negligible ability. You can just move out of the way, right? Also wrong! The hitboxes on these are so ass, they make you feel like you got hit from across Narnia. You don't even have to hit most of them to be useful. Hitting 2 Gobble Bombs on someone is essentially a death sentence, and hitting 3 is just straight up death. And this gets even worse with the new buff that just allows his Frenzy to go even longer, like for centuries. And the other buff that lets you hit Gobble Bombs at opponents, which essentially nullifies the only counter to him, corner camping. Let it be known, a skilled Wisp player, or just a Wisp player in general, is an omen of death for the entire lobby, no matter how skilled the survivors claim to be. Best chasing in the game though. Oh yeah! Hit it, Wisp! You might not have been expecting to see this monster here, but you are. Behold, ladies and gentlemen, the single most skillless monster in the fucking game. What was Blade doing with this monster? The Forest King was the 10th monster created in PC2. From what I've seen, he was supposed to be a chaser, a monster who commits. But Blade kinda shot the bed with that because holy fuck. Let's get one thing clear. TFK is still able to be navigated pretty simply, but it's so difficult considering his abilities. We'll start with the more tame ability, Lurking Facade. When you activate this ability, TFK will summon a transparent head to chase the closest player. It can go through walls and obscures players' vision, highlighting them on close. If you let it touch you, you'll be stuck in place for 4.5 seconds, which is plenty of time for TFK to come on over with their speed boost and fucking butt rape you. But that's not all. 5 heads can exist at once, so you're essentially never safe from these things. But believe me, it gets so much worse from there. Glitching Blitz, or as I call it, Glitching Bitch, because this needs to be nerfed fucking now. When you use Glitching Blitz, TFK glitches out and fires a projectile that's faster than every monster in the game, and also goes through walls. Fun! But that's not it. Upon hitting a player, which is a 99% guarantee because of its busted ass hitbox, you overlay their screen with static and slowly deal 33 damage to them, which means just hit someone twice in Glitching Blitz, free Bone Break. And don't give me that, but it doesn't kill players bullshit, because TFK's mere presence essentially means fucking death. Let's not forget his 2 passives. Every time someone runs into a Lurking Facade, TFK gets a speed boost, which makes him a lot faster than the players, allowing him to catch up with ease. This allows for not only impossible to escape scenarios, but fucking teaming up as the monster and survivor, which I've seen way too much. Oh yeah, he can also stand still to deal 40 damage with his M1. Less important, but it just allows for quicker kills. His kill animation is also quick as hell too, so it's just even more time for the shithead. In conclusion, fuck TFK! Fuck TFK mains, I want you all dead! He's a busted monster. A skills one at that. Maybe in another universe, Forest King will be balanced, but how it's looking right now, Not very likely. And if you disagree with me, the background footage is 7 minutes long. 7-minute Forest King match. Don't come to me with that shit, bro.
What's good, everybody? It's Mr. Ketchup again, your long-lost pal who just did Whist, but is now doing Fuwadi, because Door also wrote that, and they haven't recorded it. Skibbity. Compared to the other top-tier monsters, Fuwadi has, seemingly, simple stats and abilities, those being Oni Vision and Silly Rush. Fuwadi also has a passive that is not listed in-game, being the fact that while running, he can attack to sprint a small distance forward at the cost of stamina. For conciseness, this will hence be called the Fuwadi Dash Maneuver, TM of course. On to Oni Vision. Like our Oni, Fuwadi gains a map-wide highlight and stamina upon use. Doesn't sound too bad, right? It's somewhat balanced on Oni. Should be balanced on Fuwadi too. Well, not exactly. Due to Fuwadi's 21 sprint speed, he can use this extra stamina boost much better than Oni can, even being able to outrun and outstam survivors with a full sprint. This combined with Fuwadi Dash Maneuver, TM, lets him catch up to players very easily. The only con to this ability is that you can't attack or use Silly Rush while using it, which is honestly an entirely negligible downside. Speaking of Silly Rush, this is Fuwadi's bread and butter ability. Silly Rush is a 5-second cooldown ability that deals 85 damage. Missing Silly Rush isn't even that punishing, because unlike MX's Charging Demise, this ability doesn't have as long of an end lag as his does. Not to mention the fact that if you hit a wall with this ability, you gain 25 stamina back. So, the time you lost from hitting the wall doesn't really matter in the long run. Oh yeah, by the way, this guy's a 3-shot. Imagine how annoying that is. He is pretty cute though, you gotta admit it. He ready for the school. He ready for school. School.
I'm already in your ass.
MX. A character I once loved to go up against. Seeing his little intro back in my starting days of Pillar Chase 2 made me so happy, because he wasn't played that much and his mains were actually nice people. But now I just dread seeing his face appear on my screen. MX was somewhat balanced in the past, I will admit. MX has 70 stamina, 24 sprint speed, and a whopping 75 damage. So, the most damage in the game. I guess he was one of those rusher characters, but Blade kind of made him too rushy. MX's problem is that you can't get rid of him. Like a leech that just fucking loves your blood. His M1 does fucking 75 damage and has a hitbox that can cross the border twice. It has a bit of end lag, which lets players get away, but good lord, he shouldn't do this much damage. His first ability, Charging Demise, is one that seems like it'd be alright at best, but it's nutty if you use it right. Upon activation, MX will charge forward for a set distance until stopping, killing a player, or hitting a wall. If a player is caught along his dash, he'll be subjected to 9 damage per tick, which racks up fast as hell. Not only that, he recovers stamina during this, so he can just use it when he's low on stamina in a chase and get it all back. Let's not forget about Pow Hop. When you use this, MX will wait a short duration and then jump in the air, moving around the same as his walk speed until he lands on the ground. If you don't jump, you'll get stunned on the ground and at that point it's just a free kill. He can also just insta-kill if he lands on someone, so that's nice and fair, isn't it? So let's go over this. Chase, jump, charge, repeat. You can't get away from him. The only two bad sides of him are his highlight only activating once you kill someone and his high stamina drain, but he's still ungodly levels of overpowered. I'm glad Blade is starting to nerf him a little bit and trying to make him a bit more fair to go against. I just hope he's gonna be more balanced when Blade is done.
I am the god of all of your fears. The age of consent is 18 years.
Possibly the most controversial character added to Pillar Chase 2. PCX, or Sonic EXE, whatever works. This guy has gotten reworked more times than Mia Khalifa has gotten fucking manhandled, dude. First of all, his stats, 20 damage. That seems kind of underwhelming for being Sonic EXE. His 28 sprint speed, though. So yeah, this guy's fastest character in the game, technically second whatever way you look at it. He's tied with Nilo. But he has 35 stamina and the stamina drain of Fogborn. So it makes it kind of hard to keep up because you're always running out of stamina. First ability is his Found You. This ability causes PCX to turn invisible and see all players around the map for 4 seconds and has around 14 seconds inside of this state. When going out of it, he tries to throw out the punch. This punch does 25 damage, but the hitbox is fucking insane. There's a good flaw in this ability is that he can't regain stamina, so even if he goes to it with 0 stam and hits someone coming out of it, he will still not be able to do a chase. Second ability, and most likely the most reworked ability in the entire game, Final Act, Soul Split, Final Act again, God Unbound, and Final Act again. And then you can't run. PCX rips off his rings, and this makes him start to lunge forward or fly, going faster the longer he flies until he hits a wall or a player. You can turn in this ability, but the turn is kind of shit. You'll just have to make do. Hitting people does 50 damage though, so that's nice at least. The fact that this was Final Act, then Final Act got reworked, and then that ability just turned into a free XP farm, and then got reworked in the Soul Split, and then got reworked into God Unbound before being reworked again is actually insane. His final ability is his Jump. Is actually somewhat good. Jumping on a player does 20 damage, and holding space longer makes you jump higher. This ability would be pretty viable if it gave you stam, but it doesn't anymore. Damn. So I kind of just use this for mobility and to stop my stamina from draining. PCX is not easily loot, but if he misses his Found You, then the chase is practically dead at that point. But believe me, he's not bad or super OP.
Yay! The middle 9, yay!
I'm John Fogborn. The Fogborn is a typically underlooked monster that you don't see too many people playing as. That causes people not to realize just how busted he can be. As first time players playing him, they'd probably immediately stop because of his insane stamina drain. But he really isn't that bad. Stats wise, he has 100 stamina, which drains quickly, 25 sprint speed. This is nuts because the way stamina drains, he can catch up to people without his abilities. That being said, his first ability, Thunder Warp, is actually really good for a character like Fogborn. He goes insanely fast during his Thunder Warp. He has a very quiet ambience in it, so practically nobody can hear him. And this is a good ability for Fogborn because he's supposed to ambush and he can catch people with low or no stamina. We get to his fucking crazy ability, his Foggy Stare. This ability is nuts. You will stop moving and it will make a whistle. If anyone looks at you, then you will refill all of your stamina. Your stamina drain will be that of a survivor, and your attack animation is different and a lot faster. Even if nobody looks at you, you regain around 70 stamina, which is insane. Trust me when I say this, Fogborn is dangerous when the player is skilled. Although, he can get looped insanely easily against a skilled player, but if they fumble once, it's more than likely they're dead.
My name is Edwin. I made
Vita Mimic is a monster that people either overestimate or underestimate. There's no in between. In reality, I'd say it's a pretty solid monster. Not the best, but by no means bad. It has 21 sprint speed, 100 stamina, and a wild variation of damage. Starting at 15, you might think, what the fuck? This monster sucks! I'm killing Blade and them myself! Well, pipe down, bitch, because that's what its passive is for. Vita Mimic not only does 10 extra damage to players who are alone, but its damage increases by 4 for every kill you get, capping at 30, or 40 if the player's alone. Some people have trouble keeping up with players, but not to worry. Vita Mimic's first ability, Eldar Ascension, is what helps with that. Upon activation, Mimic will go dark and slightly transparent for 22 seconds. In this state, it's almost completely silent and moves a lot faster than the player. Whenever you attack or the meter goes out, this effect ends and you appear again. This ability is especially good for chases since you're not able to be outran by survivors. Sure, the ungodly 31 cooldown is awful, like seriously, why did he do that? But it's good for countering quarter campers. Its second ability, Animalistic Instinct, is the juicy stuff. Vita Mimic slows down and makes a little hum, highlighting everyone in a 58 stud radius. Hitting players who are highlighted applies bleeding, which has a good chunk of damage over time. Definitely good in the late game, let me tell you. But I don't get why Mimic players don't use Elder Ascension to its full potential. It's such a good chasing ability. I say Mimic's alright. Like I said, not the best, but not bad at all. Kudos to the Mimic mains out there.
EXE is a pretty average character at most. A great trace... Fuck! A great chaser and a good trapper. Stats first, 45 damage, which is actually pretty alright. Which means he can bone break in 2 hits, but that's not all. He also has 110 stam and 20 sprint speed. So overall average stats. Now we go on to his abilities. First ability is his Too Slow. EXE sprints forward, and if he makes contact with the player, he will hit them dealing 50 damage. You compare this with an M1 to do the 95 damage true combo! This cooldown actually isn't too bad, but it's kind of difficult to hit. Second ability, his Thorny Grave, which is kind of nuts because it technically has a 2-second cooldown, which is a great trapper ability because not only does it take 15 goddamn years to remove it, but also if you get trapped, EXE gets a really good speed boost and you get revealed to him. His overall loop ability is awful because of his bad speed, but with his Thorny Grave, he actually doesn't get trapped that often, unless there are people riding your Thorny Graves. Overall, I'd say EXE is alright, but heavily map dependent. Because if you get an open map, you're kind of just fucked. No in-betweens with this guy at all. Velum has always been kind of an odd monster to me. A somewhat ranged monster was an interesting thought, and the result was actually pretty good. Stat-wise, Velum has 30 stamina, 26 sprint speed, and a charged attack. Yeah, Velum's the first character added to have a charged attack, ranging from 10 to 30 depending on how long you charge it. So overall average stats for a fast character. His first ability is his Demonic Illusion, which when used takes away around 20 stamina, which is a lot for a character like Velum, and spawns in an illusion and makes Velum start to float around at high speeds while also being invisible. The illusion gives the survivor buffs. These buffs include spawning items for players to pick up, 1.25 sprint speed, 35 health healed, or stamina regen. This seems like a bad ability to use since it benefits the player, right? Technically yes, but also no, because when players are near Velum, he can teleport to the illusion and do 30 damage and darken the player's screen. This ability has a 10-second cooldown, and the clones last 32 seconds. This ability would be alright for around every other character, but because Velum has low stam and can combine this with his second ability in M1, it can result in an instant bone break. We're on the second ability right now. That is his Trickster's Truth. When Velum uses this ability, he will gain a damage buff that adds 20 damage on any M1. The downside is that he cannot sprint during this state and walks 40% faster in this ability. It also highlights players near you, has a 10-second cooldown and a 10-second duration. You are able to use this whenever teleporting to a clone, so if you want to maximize damage using Trickster's Truth for teleporting to a clone, you can get a free 85 damage off or maybe even a kill. So overall, I think Velum's a pretty good killer, especially when you can basically be everywhere on the map at the same time to catch people off guard. Damn.
Chorus, Forest, Skibidi Boris.
Inkfell was a great monster. Now he's just kind of buns. His kill potential is good on smaller maps, but like 3 out of like the 12 maps, as of the Jeff update, he has even less good maps. So he is not exactly good on most maps. First of all, his portals are great. The slowness makes Inkfell really good because he can catch up very easily and teleport through them and do massive amounts of damage if he goes through them. Although the portals don't last forever, and you have a portal cap on every map, which makes him more of a strategic character because your portals are extremely important. Second, his Devil's Rage, a very important part of Inkfell's kit. If you want to utilize Inkfell to the max, then you're going to have to learn how to use Devil's Rage. Although primarily used for dealing damage and slowing people in corners, sometimes it's good to hotbox the players and skip the kill anim because holy fuck is the animation long. And then lastly, his Devil's Dive, which although seems like a normal movement ability, but is actually kind of much more. When you hit someone with it, they get slowed, but the end lag is insane. There's a hidden feature in which Devil's Dive cancels when you hit a wall. So what you gotta do is aim for someone, but also aim at a wall so you can skip the end lag. So overall, Inkfell is an alright character at best, but really just matters on what map you're on. Also, because of the buff that Inkwell, good one, fucking Ubi. Because of the buffs that Inkfell will be receiving in the next update, which is in like a day, he's probably gonna be meta. So that's nice.
Stricken kind of has a similar problem to a monster in the bottom 2, in that his gameplay loop is really fucking boring and agonizing. It usually consists of run at the player, place a custard, and that's it. Playing base Stricken I fucking hate my life. Playing base Stricken really isn't all that fun. All you really do is run around and try to get hits in on people while they take your custards away, and it sucks. But that's where Stricken Tank comes in. Him. Oh no. I'm angry. Tank, in my opinion, is so fucking fun in comparison. You two-shot, you get a ton of XP, you have an awesome range attack that you can throw across the map. It's just an overall amazing addition to what would be a pretty shitty character. I was supposed to say monster there, whatever. Utilizing your abilities during the brief moment you have in Tank, you can make Stricken a pretty good monster, but even still, he's just, alright where he's at. Jeffrey Woods, one of the most recent monsters added to Pillar Chase 2. Overall a balanced character, if not the most balanced character in PC2. Let's start it off with this little gremlin stats. 23 sprint speed, which is as fast as the player, and 25 damage. Seems pretty weak for the most part, because he kind of is. 90 stam will just mean that you're always a little slower than the player, so catching up can be difficult at times, but that's where his abilities come into help. First ability, Silent Killer. This ability allows Jeff to start crouching. He makes no noise in this form, and all of his attacks deal 70 damage. Being near players will bring up his rage meter. When this meter is full and he stops crouching, he will become really fast, and his stamina will be fast as well. This is good for ambushing players doing objectives or corner camping, and not paying attention. On to his second ability, which is his Maniacal Haste. Jeff lets out a laugh and gets decreased stamina and also gets a bit faster. This has killed me one too many times. This is a great ability in my opinion, but if you don't consistently get kills with it, it gets kind of ass in a way, because the end lag on it if it ends is so bad. So overall, in my opinion, Jeff is a pretty well-rounded character. Not too awful of a character, but also not that overpowered. Only problem I see behind him is that he gets looped somewhat easily if someone's corner camping. But at this point, everyone can get looped besides like 4 characters. Rosemary. Oh, no, demonic shake now! Rosemary used to be bottom 2, right next to a certain rabbit, but now she's actually fun. Like, really fun. She's still countered by the people who can see you from afar, or by juking the fuck out of you, but she has a whole lot more chase potential now that you can actually scream while running. Thank you for answering my prayers, Blade. Demonic Shriek giving you back around 20 stam is insane for her speed, which I might add is almost as fast as Nilo's. This, combined with her abilities both reducing stam drain or giving stam back, makes her really fun to play in chases, at least in my opinion. But my favorite change to Rosemary was Echolocation being turned into a passive and being replaced with Demonic Essence, which drains players' stam and reduces your stam drain. Which, what that means is if you sit on top of a player in a chase with Demonic Essence active, you pretty much just win, because their stam drain will be, like, ungodly compared to yours. So at that point, you've just secured a kill, which I think makes Rosemary a lot more fun and fair, at least in my opinion. So not the best, but her and Vapor definitely do an amazing job at teaching new players different playstyles, which is why I think those two are pretty solid. Which, I might actually start maining Rosemary whenever I'm done diamonding with Samsonite.
The first thing you see when this hits you!
Hey, before we get into this, sorry about the cavity infill chase theme. In case it wasn't obvious enough, Vapor doesn't have a chase theme, so I just chose this one because I like it. Holy shit, I see why Phoenix made you. Vapor is one of the 3 starting monsters you get to play as upon your first time joining. He seems simple, and a lot of people think he sucks because of his slow speed, but let's just look a bit closer here.
70 damage.
So, almost instant bone break in one hit. Now you might be thinking this isn't worth it because of how ungodly slow he is. Well, let's just get a look at these little buggers right here. Spider Skulls are Vapor's second ability, and what this does is it summons a Spider Skull. These things will search for the nearest player, most likely getting stuck on something in the map along the way, and hit players for 9 damage each. Seems like a pretty butt ability, but we're forgetting about his first ability, Demonic Shift. Demonic Shift, when activated, teleports Vapor to the black orb that moves to his location every 20 or so seconds, and gives him a small speed boost. However, if a Spider Skull is attacking someone at the moment, Demonic Shift will teleport you right to that player. It also helps to know, it teleports you faster the closer you are to the orb in question, so you can effectively kill people by timing your hits and letting your Spider Skull bone break them to earn your kill. Kinda fucking nutty. And I feel that's worth mentioning. There used to be a glitch with Vapor in which, if you activate an ability right as you were about to kill someone, you'd be able to move around in your kill animation, effectively eliminating the long-ass sequence. It's gone now, but yeah. A fair character, and that's why he's so low, because all the other guys are busted as shit. It's the bottom 5. All these guys fucking suck, except for maybe like one. No! I'm going bono! I'm not saying Niloticus is the worst monster ever, but god do people overestimate him. I mean, we're talking about the character with some of the clunkiest hitboxes in the game. Starting off the bottom 5 with Niloticus, a monster with 28 sprint speed, 40 stamina, and 20 damage. Golly gee, with stats like that, he must be great! Wrong! His stamina drain is atrocious! You can't catch up to competent players with this guy at all because of how quickly his stamina depletes. But what about his abilities? Surely there must be something, right? I mean, they're alright. First ability, Godly Leap. Niloticus mightily leaps forward, horrifically grabbing any survivor, and oh my god, the scariest part about this is the fucking hitbox! On some days, you can be 24 feet away from a survivor and still hit this. And on other days, you can be inside that motherfucker plowing them and it wouldn't. Not to mention that sometimes this can just go through walls. If you manage to hit this, good job. As long as you don't mess up, you'll probably be able to secure a kill before they get away. Holy shit, this hitbox is so ass, oh my god. Ability 2, Irradiated Mist. The real deal. Nilo throws up a puddle of mist on the ground and it'll disappear after 30 seconds. You can only have 2 of these puddles down for some reason, even though Inkfell gets fucking 7 portals, but I digress. Upon survivors stepping in these puddles, they'll take around 15 damage over time and become inflicted with Radiated. Radiated is the only way Niloticus can highlight players, so if they don't step in puddles, you most likely won't be able to find them at all. Radiated also makes you deal 25 extra damage, which is cool. It definitely makes getting kills less agonizing. But the fact that this is the only way for him to highlight players is infuriating, setting his highlight right next to MX's in levels of shittiness. I guess he gets 2 stamina back from hitting M1, but I barely ever notice it because of how fast his drain is. He can also hear heartbeats, but who the hell is using that? He's also one of the only monsters with an on-kill effect, in which he radiates a corpse for 75 damage. He's also one of the only monsters with an on-kill effect, in which he radiates a corpse for 75 seconds, so that's cool. It definitely makes his early game a bit more bearable, but it doesn't save him at all later on. I don't care if you're one of the people who are like, oh, Nilo is so OP, you don't know what you're talking about. Not only am I a Nilo main, but I've also juked the fuck out of like every Nilo I've ever gone against. He's not good. You people don't fucking get how easy he is to deal with. Nilo is good, and then there's someone who manages... Nilo is good, and then there's someone who knows how to manage their stam. He's quick to lose stam, he's weak, he's clunky, and he's loud. He's not awful, but good God is he definitely bad at least.
It's time to have some fun.
Good lord, people should not call you OP. Samsonite was fucking nutty back then. You couldn't do much against him, and that had a lot to do with his first ability, Beat Laydown. Beat Laydown gives Samsonite a slight speed boost, and people caught in the radius of Beat Laydown for long enough will start dancing. At that point, it's just a free kill. But good luck catching up to them now, because good God, he's slow as shit. And let's not even talk about Uncle's Wrath. You can hit that punch into stomp maneuver for a quick kill, but like I said before, good luck catching up. I'll give Samsonite this. He has some of the best early game gameplay I've ever seen. But in 1v1, especially on maps like the Pillars, you just can't do anything. No way to ambush without them expecting it, no way to catch up. Just endless running and running until the time either runs out, or they make some colossal fuck up to get killed by you. The only reasonable ambush he has is using his domain twice, but half the time, players usually expect that, or they won't be sitting in the same place for 50 years, so there's not much you can do. But with the new rework, I should mention, at least Samsonite won't be so RNG based anymore. Being able to actually choose if you want to go out of a door is amazing for him, rather than just hoping to God you spawn on someone. But I don't think that's going to help his late game too much. Let me just say this though, I'm really glad Blade is fixing his shitty XP gain. And his new intro kicks fucking ass. It's so peak. I love Uncle Samsonite. But yeah, my main reasoning for thinking Uncle Samsonite is bottom 4 is he is so easily corner camped. He is strong when he gets his hands on you, but if you just prevent that from happening, which is extremely easy, he can't do anything.
I'm gonna ow. I'll go Google Loop. I'll go Google Loop.
Oh my god, wait. Oh my god, you can still see the head. What? I don't have a walking anim at all. Yeah, ain't that crazy. Anyway, who out there even really remembers that Oni's a monster? His gameplay, coming from a Silver Oni, is just really bland. A lot of Aoni's problems are connected to what Blade thought might be cool, in quotation marks, for him to have. Aoni is slightly slower than the player, clocking it at 21 sprint speed. With most monsters, they all have abilities that help you catch up to other players in the form of speed, teleportation, you name it. Do Aoni's abilities help him? I mean, kinda? Oni Vision, when activated, will highlight all of the players on the map for 4 seconds, and regenerate a bit of his stamina. You can use this ability in chases to stay engaged, and make sure you don't lose all of your stamina immediately. The problem is, this is one of the only abilities in the game in which his cooldown starts after it's finished, even though Wisps Frenzy goes on cooldown as soon as you use it. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Shapeshift will prompt you to turn into a player for a pretty long while, which gives you faster speed than the player, and decreased stamina drain. Most of you new Oni players will use this to ambush, but using this to chase can be really helpful on account of Oni's below average speed. But to be honest, most of these don't matter. Yeah, he's not fast, not really good, strong but has trouble keeping up. What's my beef with this monster? Blade, for fuck's sake, give him fair time! Blade thought it might be a cool idea to hide if the players were dead or not, which is actually cool and fitting to Aoni. Unless you watch the timer and listen for the fucking death audio. Not only that, but Oni gets no extra time in Last Man Standing and can't see where the player is. I get that this is supposed to be a mystery aspect, but why didn't you just hide the timer from the players as a whole? This makes Last Man Standing even more agonizing than Oni's actual gameplay, because unlike with every other monster who can get a kill at 11 seconds and shoot up to a minute in Last Man Standing, Oni just falls flat on his face with that. I think he should just hide the timer and mute the death noises, give out Oni more time, and let him have his Last Man Standing. This would not only be more interesting and mysterious for the players, but actually be fair for the monster I want to rank higher than 4th worst. Disclaimer. The gameplay here is from the worst variation of Springtrap, just to show you that BLT beats asses no matter what he plays on. His current version isn't much better though.
I always come on backs.
God damn, this fucking character sucks. Not only has he been reworked to be better, but all of these buffs, quote unquote, have actually made him worse multiple times. Before everything happened, Springtrap was arguably the best monster in PC2. You could not run him. He was unstoppable. What happened? Part 1 of this rant is his speed. Holy shit is he slow. Not only does he have 18 sprint speed with his axe and 20 without his axe, you can't reach anyone with it. And when you do, you have to commit your axe to someone forever if you're using your only viable ability for chases. That being, probably his ventilation air. This ability has been reworked around 4 times now. Basically what this ability does now is, when he gets close to you with this ability, it will flash your vision in and out multiple times. This is only when you're in the radius, so if you go into the radius for a second and go out, the effect's just gone. For some reason Blade wanted to do that. This also gives you a speed boost for a short period of time, but not a big boost. Just enough to be a little slower, if not the same speed as the player. This is literally one of his only abilities to catch up to players, and combine this with his second ability, Phantom Walk, and you've finally gotten a kill, hopefully in around 15 seconds. We move on to our second topic, his speed. This is yet again a great reason why this guy is shit. He is supposed to be a chaser according to tons of people, yet he has slow speeds and high stam. Like EXE, he has a 20 sprint speed without his axe, but does 28 damage, which makes him overall weaker in the stats sense. So to keep up with a player, you have to use your Phantom Walk multiple times, which has a 20-ish second cooldown, just to finally kill one player. Remember, there can be up to 13, not 15 survivors. So basically, against a good player, you'll have to sacrifice 40 plus seconds on someone to get one kill. Next section is his overall loop ability. Due to his absolute ass cheeks damage in his Axis form, and his god-awful speed in both forms, and not including how map-sided he is because you have to kind of rely on your axe to get all of your damage in, he gets very easily looped. Pair this with someone using Flimsy Runner, you're just fucking dead, because you can't catch up. So yeah, the Reaver kind of fucked him up even more than it did before. Second worst character in the game. Maybe, if Blade locked his fucking ass and gave him good buffs, he'd be, I don't know, a good monster. All he had to do was make his stamina drain from ventilation air a little worse. But no, he just decided to completely take that away. I'm not going to say anything about Mechanical Slam. It's good if it lands. Its hitbox is some ass, but when you hit it, it's essentially just an insta-kill if you know a specific technique. And it's nutty in the buddy. I know Blade has good intentions with this monster, but the fact that he lied about most of his rework shows that he doesn't really know what's going to fix him. Maybe, in another universe, Springtrap will finally be good again. Ooh, I can't wait for how much hate I'm gonna get for this placement.
I am Baldy, you're in my school.
Oh boy, I can already hear the comments. What the fuck? Baldi's OP, what are you talking about? Let's get one thing clear. And yes, this is a call out. When people call Baldi OP, how many kills do they have in their Baldi rounds, and who do they kill? Everyone who calls this bald bitch OP gets kills that are either free as hell, or on fucking AFK people. You know who you are. This is the worst fucking monster in the game. I'm sure you all think he's busted, or good at least, but not only is Baldi unarguably the most boring monster in the game, but also the worst. Baldi doesn't move like normal monsters. He slaps like in his original game, sliding forward quickly before going into an intermission where he slides at 1 speed. He gets faster over time, and by the time you reach max speed, if the player knows what they're doing, you still can't catch up to them. Your math books do not consider him a trapper, because players can easily dip in and remove them like that, with little to no consequence, unlike EXE or Inkfell. Do not give me the bullshit excuse that, oh, he bone breaks in 2 hits. Hitting people is so goddamn rolling with this character. You have to adapt to this weird, broken movement style, time your hits perfectly just for it to miss because his hitbox doesn't move with him. He has one of the best, if not the best, highlights in the game, but highlights won't do shit if you can't catch up at your max speed! No, this rant is not over yet. I have a personal call out for this part. A YouTuber by the name of Wormsy made a video talking about how OP his slide was because he used to slide at 5 speed in between slaps. I let him know, hey, this doesn't really save this bad monster, and it really isn't a buff, and this provoked him to essentially call me stupid for it, so allow me to actually elaborate. Now that Baldi's sliding speed is 1, thanks to all of you, this makes it damn near impossible for him to traverse my world. Thanks to the bitches complaining about it, my world is unarguably his worst map. You'd think Blade would allow Baldi to slap midair, but no, let's try to have him bounce onto platforms at 1 speed. So, congrats to the people that just needed this nerf. You made one of the worst mistakes in monster design even worse! I'm a gold Baldi, and even I can say this character is fucking dog shit. Even Samsonite and Oni players know that they have some redeeming qualities, but what does Baldi have against competent players? Nothing. You want to call a slide OP? Go right ahead. Try to stay engaged in chases when you play as him. I think he just needs a full rework. Like Springtrap's fine where he is, he needs buffs. But Baldi, he needs a rework, now. He's so boring, he's so ass. The fact that he just added insult to injury by making him a starter instead of changing him makes it sting even more as someone who plays Baldi. Disagree with me if you must, but like, face the fucking facts. Jesus Christ. Thanks for watching. Sorry if I, like, seemed actually mad. I'm just putting on this tone to make the video have more depth or whatever. I don't get this mad over a fucking Roblox game. Not often, at least. Expect more Pillar Chase 2 shit in the future, probably. And let it be known that the Tita are the only people who don't bullshit with this game. Baldi's not OP. Don't believe the shit they tell you. Maybe I'll make some how to play this monster videos, but until then, I'll see you all on the flip side. Peace. Having credits for a Pillar Chase video is fucking nuts. 43 minutes for a fucking Roblox video. Nobody's watching this shit. Oh my god. But really, I do hope you enjoyed. This script has been months in the making, and we had to keep updating it because of all the monsters that kept coming out. I'll probably put some, like, clips that we didn't use here. Like, oh, look at Mr. Pinky. Why does he have no animations? What the fuck? But yeah, we had a lot of fun with this video, and I hope you liked watching it. I think that's all I wanted to say. You're using Slayer as Diamond PCX.
Yeah, only 2. PCX has 2 bad skins.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The double loop maneuver.